nation's built upon this concept that our states are sovereign entities, but yet there's a perception that the federal government is our master when it comes to environmental regulation. Did we go wrong and where?
Well, a lot of people in Washington who think the Bill of Rights, Untitled Chapter, Amendment number 9, as a former governor, I believe in the 10th Amendment. Matter of fact, one of the reasons I was so anxious to go to Washington, I was ticked off at all the things that the federal government told us to do. The federal government overreacted to the dioxin crisis we had in 83 and 84 at the end of my second term. One of the things that ticked me off the most, they came in and said, the water treatment money that we're going to give you, you're going to spend your money and our money on water treatment. You have to be installing tertiary treatment on water from the St. Louis and Kansas City municipal systems. In other words, we would be putting better quality water in the Missouri and the Mississippi River that was already there. And in Missouri, we were crying for the need to clean up the smaller streams where there was untreated pollution going into some of our fishable, swimmable waters. It was bad for them. It was a direct health threat to the people along those small rivers and creeks, and it was a major impediment to building our state as a tourist attraction. And I still think I was right. And I went up there because I was mad. I was mad about that.
Senator Vaughn, we in Missouri don't like people telling us what to do. And yet we have this regulatory scheme that focuses on compliance, measuring in hyper-technical terms that, frankly, most of the populace doesn't understand, doesn't appreciate. Have we lost touch with our own environment to the point where we don't even understand environmental regulation anymore?
It's tough to say how much the average person knows about environmental regulation. There are many people who are very concerned about it and take an active role in it. But when you look at the 5+ million people, that's still a small percentage. But I think a lot of us realize that something is happening in Washington, and even the president has said, we've got to talk, we've got to start making rules or make sure the rules are not burdensome, overlapping, and there's beginning to be a cry for more common sense regulation, not having overlapping regulation. I saw an account that EPA had 30 major regulations and 170 major policy rules coming down the road, and that is just overwhelming. The average Missourian is not going to feel it unless their energy price goes up 20%. The National Economic Research Administration said just 2 of these rules. I guess that's the air transport rule, and one of the other rules would cost 1.4 million jobs, because when the cost of energy go up, businesses can't expand, businesses cut back, or frankly, so many businesses if they can, will move overseas. Chemical companies are moving overseas. Fertilizer companies are moving overseas. And you're seeing those jobs go out. And people, when they see that their employer has shut down or moved out of the country because of regulation, that is going to begin to light a fire.
To some degree, EPA does what Congress tells them to do. So I think you have to look at how the laws are designed and look at the incentives in some of those. And when the laws are very prescriptive, and again, one reason they're very prescriptive, because when you have power, you want to sort of get everything your way and make it difficult to change, so the next guy can't change it as easily. So I think if somehow we come up with a legal framework that looked more across media, it was less silo-based, that was very focused on objectives, but allowing more discretion and flexibility how we get there. I think that the people who work in the environmental field could probably need to learn some new skills and think more in terms of collaboration and use of partnerships and those kinds of ideas. But I think it's a long transition, but I think if the legal framework puts you in a certain direction, it can be very difficult to change.
Dr. Fiorino, where do we go from here? Given the opportunity that you've had at the Environmental Protection Agency and now while you're in academia, studying the issues, where do we go from here towards a more regulatory framework that is flexible?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. I thought I'd let Sarah work out, but from her perspective. I think it's going to be very difficult right now in the current environment, at least at the national level, because people really aren't talking on the same basis, and they often aren't using the same facts. One major step would be if everybody agreed to at least agree on what the facts of any situations are, because they see numbers thrown around left and right and arguments left and right. And it's clearly that the arguments are creating the data that people use to make their point. So we just maybe get some common ground on some issues and some facts. That I think would be a step in the right direction. I wish I had a better answer than that, but I think if you just keep working on issues, I think, again, at the state level, maybe there might be a little more opportunity to find some more innovative ways of dealing with these problems. But also, I think, historically, when the economy is bad, then environmental issues are much more difficult to deal with. I mean, everybody sort of digs in and is much less willing to share information and share experience and bend a bit. So I think right now conditions are not real promising, but I think keep working on these things at the state and local level and have some examples for when things get better.
Right now we have one of the great opportunities to bring kind of economic development that this state sorely needs. A lot of data centers are moving around the nation looking for places that they can locate, and they want green energy. They want energy that is non, or at least less polluting. And I've been working with the University of Missouri for a long time, and we've got about 14 million acres of timber. 6/7 of that is scrub timber. That scrub timber should be harvested to enable healthy forests and to produce better stands of commercial logs. And a lot of that forest land is in southeast Missouri, from here on down to the Boot Hill area, stopping at the Boot Hill area. And that's an area of high unemployment. If we could develop initially maybe burning that wood in small power plants, or ultimately as developments go forward with making conversion of cellulose and ethanol more efficient, that we can make environmental improvements and put a lot of people to work in areas where there's a tremendous need. So the pressure for cleaner energy, I want to emphasize, can have great benefit for Missouri.
I think that is a wonderful point that you make, that we can use our resources that we have here to our advantage, while also not causing a black eye for our environmental conscious friends as well.
We can clean up, we can lessen the pollution in the air. I mentioned the filter strip pollution control systems to keep our lakes and streams clean. The university, some of those awful earmarks I got to the University of Missouri to show how much we can reduce pollution coming off of, particularly off of farmland, but also off of city dwellings, pavement. I think Doyle, you were in on a lot of those activities as well. There are a lot of things we can do to clean up our environment. It'll require, there's still going to be the regulatory muscle out there, but I find that particularly farmers are good conservationists, environmentalists. They want cleaner water, they want clean land, because their families live on it, the kids drink the water, they fish in the streams. So there are a lot of things that we can be doing, should be doing in Missouri to show the way environmentally.